study that we were looking at was teaching us how God had ordained Jeremiah to bring change. And when you look at so many lives, the lives of Jeremiah, Gideon, Moses, all these people, you will realize God always calls them out of something into something. There is always something they are leaving behind, and there is something they are going to do. And when I've been doing this and I've been checking my life, if God wants change in my life, I must be ready and willing to work with Him to bring change. Willing and ready to bring change. But something else I came to realize, God will always give you an opportunity to fix that which has not been working uko nyuma. Sawa sawa? Gideon is told, go back. Because in most cases, God will not send you away from the people that you know, but mostly to the people that you know. Moses is sent back to Egypt, his familiar ground. See? So you realize in most cases, God will send you to things that you already have an idea. But the problem is, when God is sending you back, have you overcome where you're coming from? That is where the problem is. In the morning we were learning about changing, understanding the environment of God. Now when God is telling you go back and fix, He's telling you go and change that climate or that environment. Is that easy? To me, it has never been easy. Probably to you, it's easy. And this is what I came to learn. I kind of continuing with where we have left, so please I pray that you catch up and you help us go through this very fast. Change. For me, I like change in positive areas. Sawa sawa? Because most of us, not all of us, like changing for good. There are others that like changing for other stuff. Me, I like changing or fixing things to give me good results. And not only good results for me, but good results for my environment. Now, is the change that I am asking God for in His will? It depends. Sawa sawa? So for me to bring change, something must happen. I must first understand why are we in the current situation. Sawa sawa? I must understand why are we here. What brought us to this so that I can bring change. When I understand what brought us to this, I will know, in most cases, who brought us to this. Then the other thing, I will want to know what was their intentions. Nisipate, I'm changing, but I am also working towards the same result they wanted. Because there are changes that are orchestrated by greed. Different routes, same results. Sawa sawa? So I am careful not to be wanting or going after the same thing they wanted. So what have we said? I will check for why, what was their intentions, and what are the results we are currently having. That is me. I've checked and I've realized. What else will I want to do? I will desire to know the current change has affected who? That thing that I want to change, who has it affected? And the other question on who it has affected, I will want to know. Why were they affected? Did all of us respond the same way that we are all enjoying the same results? Sawa sawa? I've established a few things. I want change. I am demanding for change. The change I want, how will it affect my environment? Because many a times, trust me, we are calling God for change, but when change begins to come, we realize, this is not God what I was asking you for. It becomes fire, pepper, and you do not want that. So again, are you prepared for the changes that you've been asking God for? We meet a man that is called Gideon. How many have heard about Gideon in the Bible? It is one man that God told, I've called you. You are a great and mighty man of valor. And I've called you. Imagine, ni mimi nakuita na ni mimi nakupea hiyo jina. But there is something that is wrong with you. For the ordination of Gideon to manifest, he had to deal with his altars. He's ordained, yes. He's anointed, yes. But for the manifestations to come, what was standing between him and manifestation? His father's altars. His father's altars. It is what was causing them to be. Do you remember the story? Kulikuwa na drought, walikuwa wanapanda, majirani wanakuja wanafanya ile kitu, wanapanda, majirani wanakuja wana harvest. It was just a season, an environment that was not conducive for their growth. Now, Gideon is praying, Father, send me help. I want to believe. Father, deliver us. When God comes, is the answer packaged in a way that Gideon likes? Now, God is telling Gideon, you are the one to correct this mess. Tell your neighbor, in your family, you are the one to correct the mess. He's telling Gideon, it is your responsibility to bring the change you've been praying for. But guess what? We never like that part. We want to send prayers. Tutume maombi yende ifanye kazi. But God is saying it is your responsibility to bring change. And God is telling this person, you are strong enough to bring change. And Gideon is like, do you know my father? Leave alone my father. Do you know the mighty men in that city? The men that are responsible for these altars, do you know them? And God is saying, do not be afraid. I have ordained you. And you will only know that you are ordained when you do what I've asked you to do. Most of you know that God has anointed you. But the reason why your oil is not manifesting is you are not presenting yourself to where the oil should manifest. Gideon, uko? And Gideon is told, go back and correct it. He decides, whatever you're telling me, God, is it doable? Yes, it is doable. Because when God has anointed you and ordained you, how is it you think it cannot happen? But now, for God to take you to the next level, the last level must leave you. The ordinary level must leave you. And is that something I'm willing to do? Now, Gideon destroying the altars of his father means there is nowhere to go back to. There is nothing else to go back to. Does he want that? Does he? Would you, if you are Gideon, would you want that space? When we were learning and we were teaching, we had a men class, I told them, I'm giving you an assignment. Go home and begin new systems. A few of them began, a few of them lost the way, a few of them are still thinking about it. There is no way you can bring change if there is no new rules or laws that are set that are contrary to the last laws. If you're fixing something, you must use the tools that have been given to you. If there was corruption, and that is what you are uprooting, then you must plant faithfulness. So there has to be set laws that govern you for change. But the problem we have is we want change minus work. Have I become the change that I want? That is number one. Am I the change that I like? Am I the change that God has approved? On Wednesday we learned something and we said, all of us are a result of altars. And altars give directions. Altars give laws. Altars give establishments. Either godly altars or ungodly altars. The strength of the altar is the level of obedience of the priesthood that minds that altar. Sawa? Can I pick that again? The level of the strength of an altar is based on the obedience of the priest that minds that altar. Sheria zenye zimewekwa za hiyo madhabahu, mwenye anaichunga ndio anasababisha ile madhabahu iwe na nguvu ama ipoteze nguvu. Kwa sababu gani? Ule mwekaji wa sheria anaelewa ni nini tunafaa kufanya ndio tuendeleshe hii madhabahu. Now, most of us don't know that there are people that are keeping obedience to their altars to ensure what they said or did is going to happen into your life. Sawa? Now, your obedience to your altar is what will determine if you will overcome this or you will be succumbed. Utamezwa nayo. Now, you find a man that does not have set laws as a priest, that is not governed by any laws. Men are not men, men are laws. If you have not figured that out, Kenya is not Kenya. Kenya is just laws, full of laws. That is why we all go back to Katiba. We are all governed by laws. So if you find a man that does not understand him, what laws govern my life, that is a man that is about to shipwreck, or a woman that is about to destroy you. Because these laws, law and powers, companies succeed because they have laws that they keep, and those laws make them rich or poor. Whatever you do, trust me, if you are not answering, even if it is to your own personal laws, you're not going anywhere. Now, consistency is another problem. Today you are good, today you are bad. Let me tell you, there is nothing in this life like a priest that is not consistent. That is a priest that is opening themselves and all of us for battle. Today they are hot because priesthood is not a feeling, is a governance. Tunaelewana? Uongozi si hisia, hapana. Uongozi ni sheria. So hauamki ujisikii, unajisikia, uongozi ni sheria. Na kama unakosa sheria, trust me, there is nowhere you're going, even in your personal life. Now, when God is calling you to go transform, hata kama ni kwa boma yako amekwambia kijana, kwa hii nyumba nataka ubadilishe mambo, He will give you a set of laws, and that is what we miss. Always, He will give you instructions of how to bring change. The problem is the keeping the law. You will never transform or bring any change when you are not a law keeper. Are we in this house? Because altars don't care. At some point, they don't care what gender you are. They don't care if you breathe or you don't breathe. They just care for one thing. Laws have been kept. We said in this season, this is what will happen. If you disobey, you suffer the consequences of disobedience. Now, how is it you think you will live life without laws and you succeed? That is why even in companies they say, tunatakanga watu kwa hii kampuni saa 2. Wewe si uende saa 5 tuone kama kesho utakuwa. Si uliamka umeboeka. Si uende saa 5. Now that is the kingdom. That is basically the kingdom. Tunanyorosha hivi, this is how. God has said this is the way. Trust me. I told the people in the morning, even if you change churches, you change religion, you change your state, you change countries, God said this is the way. At the end of the day, if you don't return to the way, destruction awaits you. That is life. Now, you cannot say, I don't like what is happening in my life, in this nation, in everywhere. And you are not asking God of how to fix it. You cannot dislike your family and not be asking God of how to fix it. You cannot be disliking your finances and not asking God how to fix them. Others think hard work will change finances. If there is a law, and I shared this on Wednesday, if there is a law of poverty in that family, the priesthood wrote and said, poverty. There has to come up another man that fears God and write another law that says, well, no matter how much we will try to work hard, no matter how much we will pursue education, there has to be a man that will come and say, I am done with this altar of poverty. I uproot it. And I am planting the altar of fulfillment in this family, of wealth.